Hey guys, so today we will be filming basically those top 10 palettes that work for melanated ladies like us. I tried to get a good range of like high-end, good quality, also drugstore friendly palettes that I just like went through my collection, which took a while because I honestly have about 200 or a little over 200 palettes now, so it took a minute to narrow it down, but I think that I have those top 10 that if I ever had to like limit my my collection down, would be the ones that I would consider black girl friendly. There are a couple of more expensive ones, and there's also a couple of palettes that I wanted to put on the list but didn't make the final cut just because I didn't want the whole collection to be just one brand, but there is a couple of brands that I'll shout out along the way that really deserves a shout out for making sure that everything has been women of color, people of color approved, and making sure that it's targeting an audience larger than just what the makeup community has been used to catering to for over the last couple of decades. So it's really cool, and I'm really excited to do this video for you guys. I hope you stay tuned. If you have any questions, let me know. Love you guys. So the first palette I want to show you guys is a palette that I actually got in 2018, and it was considered limited edition, but I think it did so well that it ended up being permanent and still on their site. So had to include in the collection. This is the Dose of Colors. It's the Desi and Katie collab, and it's called the Friendcation palette. Do not judge how my palette looks on the inside. It just shows that I really, really love it. So as you can see, it is definitely beat up and has been used, and I probably need to buy a backup pretty soon. But the colors in here are amazing, and the transitions, like we have transitions for if you're lighter complexion, if you're chocolate, if you're like caramel, and we even have like this pink tone. So I think they definitely did not leave anybody out when creating this palette. And also the shimmers are just amazing and like so diverse. It's one of the Honestly, this was one of the palettes that at that point in time, I was mainly buying Anastasia Beverly Hills. So this was kind of like out of my comfort zone, and I bought it. I was like, oh, I think it'll be cute. I think I'll like it. And it ended up really surpassing my expectations. And honestly, this was my travel palette for about, I'll say like 6-7 months. It was the only one I would take with me because it's small, it's slim, and you can just throw it in your bag. And then the glitter doesn't come off. So that wasn't an issue either. It's more so like the material of the palette. But this palette definitely, if you can't tell, has been loved by me. I actually wore it to my 24th birthday party in Charleston. So I'll swatch a couple of the colors. I know the blue one doesn't look like it gets touched that much by me. This olive green tone is amazing. And then I will do this shimmer as well. I don't really want to do a matte swatch because you know mattes don't always swatch as well, but these are, what finger? Oh, these are going to be those swatches. They're beautiful. As you can see, they're pigmented, and that last one is like a topper, so I mainly put it over that deep like black pearl shade down there. It is called Try Me or Game On. Sometimes when they put it on the back, I'm not really sure, but I've always topped it on top of my other shimmer shades, but it's really beautiful. So definitely if you don't have it, grab it. It is $55 regular price, but they're actually having 40% off, so you can definitely grab it for a sale. And sometimes you can even grab it. I don't know if it's still on Ulta. It used to be on Ulta, but now I think it's just exclusive to the Dose of Colors website. But if you are looking for like a good shimmer palette, good everyday travel palette for a girls' night out, but also for a good day at work, this is that baby. This next palette that I really, really love is going to be the ColourPop Makeup Shayla palette. When I first started watching YouTube videos, Jackie Aina and Makeup Shayla was one of the like main two people I went to, especially Makeup Shayla for complexion because a lot of times we wore the same shade. And then this is her palette. What I thought was so cool about her palette was you have like this straight side of warm shades and then the straight side of cool shades. It is definitely a day to night palette if you can't tell. Like, she made a very, very diverse palette. And at this time in ColourPop, they were doing a lot of collaborations, and they also had like, again, Dusty, but they were doing a lot of collaborations, but this was one of the really first big black ones with the woman of color YouTuber. So this one and I think Ella Ree were the two that I was just like, wow, like they're really reaching out and trying to be as diverse as possible. And I think it was really amazing. It also came with a couple of lip glosses and stuff too, but I think I grabbed them. My collection, I'm not sure. But these are gorgeous. And then let me swatch. So Sassy was one of my favorite shades I used to use. Strut and Slay. And then I think LE. Those are the shades I remember digging into and just being like, oh. And the ones that I looked at when they were promoting it, right? And this palette was like really, really not expensive. I think it was like 12 bucks. I might be wrong. It might be a lie, but it was not expensive at all. And ColourPop definitely always has like coupons or big discounts going on their website. So this was that original Makeup Shade launch and it is beautiful. Even the packaging, it doesn't get dirty. It gets like a little dusty, but you can just wipe it off if you really care about that, but it's beautiful. In the mirror and it's really nice. I don't think I ever used it because I always like just have my mirror right beside me, but those colors are stunning. And then this one has like this really nice iridescent from like this silvery gray to like this like taupe brown. So it's really nice. They definitely did a good collaboration. The next palette that I'm gonna dive into, I actually did a tutorial on my channel, but this is the Uma Black Magic Carnival. I think Jackie Aina was actually the face of it along with Patrick Starr. So it was a really, really cool collab, and it had people of color in the advertisement as well, which I think is so good to show. And it's not just like they were doing it because there's a Black Lives Matter movement going on. They did it because they wanted to do it. This was before that was even like, basically it was before this year. It was before brands started getting called out for not speaking up, or their page just not having any black girls, or 10 people and then one black girl every like 3 months. So this was before then. They were standing up, and this is also a black owned brand, so of course, right? But and then my last video is where my fingernail went into that shade. But this baby is beautiful, and these mattes perform really well. Even this bright yellow, you know, yellow is a hard color to create, but they did a great job. But these colors are amazing. I actually, when I used it, I went all orangey. So let's swatch the colors I didn't use. So let's swatch like Trinidad, let's swatch Mardi Gras, and then I'm going to swatch Barcelona. And Barcelona just feels like butter. It just feels like butter. But she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. And she retails for, hold on. So she retails for $44, but I actually got her on sale from Ulta when it first released. They had like a half off, so I got it for $22. And sometimes Uma also has a sale on their website where they sell it for half off, 40% off, 30% off. So you can always catch this beauty for a good deal, and I feel like it is one that you can have in your collection. And it's really good for travel, especially if you're going on like a tropical trip. I think this is definitely one for you. And let's talk about these like highly pigmented transition shades. Like this is gorgeous. This reads a little bit more like mustard-y orange on camera, but it's actually like this bright yellow orange. And then these are just great transition and crease colors, especially when you're using these beautiful silk babies. But as you can see, the pigment doesn't lie. That's exactly what it does in your eye. It's beautiful. The next palette we're going to talk about is Urban Decay, and it's not a naked palette. I have all of those too, but this one was one that kind of changed the most. So I had seen a lot of Urban Decay bright shades, beautiful shades, but this was the palette that was like, we see you girls, like here we go. And then this one's very versatile, so you can travel with this one like nobody's business. But this was one of the ones that first introduced like a whole bunch of different transition options, whereas if you see in a lot of the naked palettes, you only see like these like very taupey transition shades, especially in Naked 3. That's one of the first ones I had in Naked 2, but we were used to having to use those shades and we didn't feel like we had other options. So during that time, we just tolerated it. But then this came out, we were like, no, we have other options. We have different shades of brown. Like we come in 1,000,004 shades, so it's about time that our palettes reflect it. And this one really targeted that. So I love this palette. It's actually a staple in the Urban Decay's growth as a brand, and I think it was really cool of Wendy to finally like release something that was good for everybody. And I think that it definitely showed in how popular it was on YouTube and how many people were subscribed to it. This palette was $49, still is, and you can get it from Ulta, you can get it from the Urban Decay site, or you can get it from Sephora. So it's definitely still easy to get your hands on. And then this is one, it has like a lot of satin finishes, but these blues and greens are what gets me every time. So of course we're gonna swatch these babies. I feel like I keep swatching like similar shades, but it's the shimmers that like we care about when we're swatching, right? Or maybe that's just me. I feel like with the last palette I just swatched, I literally did like 3 very similar colors. Maybe it's like what I'm reading today, what I want to film with. So that's those shimmers, and then this color is amazing. Like it looks so good on like deep chocolate skin, and I just love it. Like it's really gorgeous. Next one is another black owned brand. This is going to be Juvia's Place, which I'm pretty sure everybody has heard by now. Is a very affordable brand. I think this one is one of their $20 palettes, if I'm not mistaken. But the packaging alone for her, like she goes above and beyond. She really does, especially for it to be affordable too. I have a couple of her palettes. This one hasn't really been touched as many of some of them, but let's talk about it. Like this kind of follows that same color pop theme of the Makeup Shayla, where it's like your warms go horizontal though, and so does your nighttime shades, but it's all like really wearable and friendly for all complexions. I think actually being owned by a woman of color, you definitely see it reflected in the work and the shades and the tones that they were using. Like these are blues that look amazing on all skin tones, and I think it's very good that they were implemented. And even when you have light shades like this, like as long as you have like a shade like this too, that's like we see everybody, cool beans, let's work with it. But this palette is really pretty. I feel like I probably need to use this way more than I do, but I just remember like what it meant seeing the brand in Ulta and swatching it, and it's like good quality. Just because like it's a lower price point doesn't mean that the quality is not as great. It just means that they're giving everybody the opportunity to purchase it, and I love that. And then Ulta also has like a really good reward program, so save your points and get it for free one day. Like who doesn't want to do that, right? But it's amazing. Let me swatch her so we can swatch Faso. Guys, I don't want to say the names wrong, so I'm just gonna swatch this baby. Let's swatch this baby, and then this one because I wanted to touch her. So these are the 3, and then let's put them right there. You're probably starting to see sparkles on my hand from the other ones. This color is gorgeous, and the thing is like these colors are this pigmented. Of course, like it skipped, but that was my finger, like not going over the corner of my hand, but they're beautiful. And it's like that iridescent purpley lilac unicorn shade. Like, come on. It's for black girls too. Like, we deserve the unicorns too. So it's just really nice palette. Today I am wearing the Dose of Color palette I showed you guys at the beginning, and then also one I'm going to show you guys in a few. But honestly, like, I took a little bit too long doing my makeup today, but it's okay. Sometimes you just got to do it so you can just feel better. It's like relaxing, and there's so much going on in the world. Like sometimes you just need a distraction for like 2-3 seconds. So the next one in the collection of top 10, I don't even know what number we're on anymore. Let's see. We're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is number 6. It's really dirty. It's really dirty. Don't judge me. Once again, this is about palettes for people of color. And people of color have brown foundation and brown concealer and tan or deep concealer. So you're going to see it on our palettes. If you give us a white palette, you're going to see what color we are. So this is my concealer that I put on under my eyeshadow. So this is the result of being a woman of color. And I might give this some character. Don't judge me, it's not dirty, it's just makeup. And then this is the palette. I remember when I first got this, I think this was around the time too when I was still using naked palettes, and I think the only Anastasia palette I had was Modern Renaissance. So getting this opportunity to have warm shades in my collection, and then also adding this many colors, it's a big palette, but adding this many colors to my collection at one time was exciting. I remember me and my best friend got this together at the same time. This was a staple. Like, everybody had this palette. And then Jackie Aina did this look with these greens that I will never, ever, ever forget about. Like, whew, it's gorgeous. I think that Jacqueline Hill definitely did her thing with this one. I know recently, earlier this year actually, she released part 2, which is like hot pinks, oranges, golds, yellows. And I didn't get it yet. I might get it. I haven't seen it in person, you know, due to COVID. We haven't been out and about. And I don't even think you can go inside Ulta right now, just like pick up. So it's just really nice to have this in my collection. I feel like this was a chance where Morphe kind of stepped out and did something for all the girls. And I think that this palette was well curated. Like, even though it's super light on top row, it's like each row just gets a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and a little bit more POC friendly. So it's definitely one to be admired. And the amount of transition shades, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's 13 transition shades. Like, that's not something that we usually get. And I think that because Morphe has such a big turnout with this palette, that's where the 39A came from, the one that has like all transition shades in the middle, because this was the one that like set the trend. It's really amazing. And we can swatch it. This one feels a little weird in mine. I've had for a while, so it might just be because it's a little older, a little bit more mature, but she is pretty. And then we'll put this peach shade, because I used to love this peach shade when I was in college for some reason. I used to put it on all the time, like it wasn't 1,000,004 shades in this palette. And those are the shades. Like, this shade is peach. That's what I used to live in, because I feel like I used to wear pink every day when I was in school for some reason, and nobody called me out. Nobody. But definitely really, really pretty. And then the quality of these, it was okay matte wise. Like, you could blend them, they weren't hard to work with, but they aren't the best quality of what you can receive in 2020 drugstore. Like, you can definitely find great quality for great prices. So you don't really have to get this one anymore. Maybe the second one has a little bit better quality since it's further down the line, but what I would say is definitely check it out. She did a part 2 on it with the mini ones. They're kind of a miss. I have all of them, but they skip, and the mattes are not well executed, which you also probably saw before, but the first one was definitely the gem of the bunch. I don't know about part 2, can't speak on it, but the little mini vault, that won't make this video, I'm gonna tell you right now. The next palette that I have, my best friend told me to get over and over again, and I was just like, all I need is Anastasia Modern Renaissance. I don't need any other palette with any other pink. Like, I was hooked on I Was Your ABH girl. Like, literally whole collection ABH, everything I want ABH. And then I listened to her one day when we were in Sephora and got Too Faced Sweet Peach, and this was the Black Girls peachy palette we never had but always needed. You're gonna see when I turn it around how much I loved it. So this is the palette. As you can see, it's been loved on dearly. I hit pan on a couple of the shades, and some of the shades have other shades in it from when I touched it. And it's definitely, yeah, it was loved. So this palette was, I think, one of the first ones by Too Faced that really And this palette, guys, is probably, I think I got it in 2016, so it's 4 years old. Don't judge me. But it still smells like peaches. Like when you open it, it smells like fresh peaches. And I don't know how it holds the scent for that long. I think it's like inside the actual formula of the shadows, but it's so strong and it's really, really amazing. But there's a couple of shades in here, like this one, where it's like they had like this foil layer over them where you can't get them to show up. Like I'm touching it right now and like there's really like nothing coming off of my finger. But it was like 1 or 2 shades. I could have had a defect palette. I never really looked into it. The other shades took care of me, so I wasn't really worried about it. But these transition shades in this one and these deep plum purples and deep, deep, deep browns, like espresso browns. This was really, really gorgeous. I actually have not reached for this in a long time. And I may do a throwback video of all the makeup that I thought I would never stop using, or all the makeup that I don't know what I'm talking about. But this was definitely one I loved. It's gorgeous. It's still really pretty, and it's like this neutral peach tone. So it's like you got your work friendly, you got your flirty girl early brunch date with your girls, and then you got your party date night out. So if you separate that palette in those 6 quads, that wouldn't be a quad, but in those 6 pans, then you'll see like many palettes within the palette. So this is definitely well executed, and I think the tint kind of also keeps the scent like merged in there. But sweet peach, guys. Now we're getting, I think we're there. So these are my top 3 gotta have palettes for people of color. Like I said, they're gonna include some luxury products, but they're also gonna include one that's a little affordable, and you should have it because it was curated with a Black YouTuber who really had us in mind when picking out every single shade. So that palette is the Anastasia and Jaclyn Hill palette. This palette probably has over 500, 600 videos on YouTube. Everybody reviewed this palette. It sold out over and over again. I remember I went on launch day to the Ulta near me and it was 2 left. And I got it and the girl that worked there got it. Actually, my eyeshadow kind of matches the palette. But just so you guys know how amazing this palette is, I have to. This is my older one. I'm not gonna, matter of fact, let's open it and embarrass myself. So this is my original. As you can tell, ginger is my favorite color. It is a warm transition for a chocolate girl. I literally will throw that on and only wear that. And then all the other shades, they are getting close to pan too. So what I was not gonna do was run out of one of my favorite palettes that is limited edition. And honestly, for the Anastasia brand, I felt like the smart thing for them to do was to make that palette permanent, because they had a couple of palettes before Subculture. They had a palette Subculture before that stayed around way longer than it probably needed to. But this Jaclyn Hill palette, it needs to be permanent. Like, it's no debate about it. It will get purchased over and over again. I know a lot of girls, a lot of people that got their backup, and they're scared of losing it. Like, mine still has the film in it, but this is the palette when you first buy it from the store before you destroy it like I did mine. And it has amazing, amazing shades. Like, every one of these shades are POC friendly. This shade, it might scare you, but we're about to swatch. So that's Trust Issues. Anybody that knows me knows my favorite shade in the whole palette is Zam. It's so beautiful, and it's actually like a flaky, like it's like a foil, like a loose foil. And then Sponsored. Sponsored is one like I use for date nights a lot. So these are those 3 shades. And I need some water. You guys see those dents in my hand, but this is not up for debate. Like, even this shade right here that you're probably scared of, it's literally reads gold. Like, it's gold. The whole palette was made for people of color. Jackie Aina is really big on supporting her community, and I feel like these transitions and this color combination was something that we didn't know we needed, but we did. Like, these pinks, we can make so many looks from this palette and also just stay neutral if we want to, but she gave us the opportunity that a lot of brands didn't, which is when they're making these bright colors, making sure they work on highly melanated skin. She made sure that it worked for everybody, and I think that there is nothing to say about, like, it's just amazing, and a thank you to somebody that in the lab had us in mind, not just trying to target us once it's made, put one person on their page and say, hey, it also works on you, kind of, sort of, or we made some good lighting and editing so you can think it does, and I want your $50. Like, no, she definitely made sure it worked for us. So thank you, Jackie. She did that. I might get a third. Don't judge me. Hey, anybody that knows me or that's been watching my channel for the last couple of months knows it is the mother of makeup, Pat McGrath. Okay? That's what I'm wearing in the center of my eye. She released Divine Rose 2, and it has this triochrome, I don't know. But that's what's on the center of my lid. So it kind of changes colors when I move. I think it's perfect to do the video with. But we'll do that one last. So the next one, number 9, near the last but not the least, is Bronze Seduction. This was my first mothership I ever had, and $125 palette is a scary thing, especially to somebody that's like loves makeup but really doesn't know everything about makeup. Is scary. So this was my present for my fiance, and he can blame himself for the other ones that I bought since then. I have all the big motherships, all the mini motherships, all the quads, so on and so on. So this is Mothership 5, Bronze Seduction, and this one kind of was a groundbreaker. I feel like when this one came out, a lot of people went back and got the other ones too. They're like, oh my gosh, she was already on the map, don't get it twisted. But this was the one that I think made people that weren't always comfortable with spending $125 on a palette comfortable with spending it, because the whole palette was user friendly. Like, you weren't going to not be able to use those 1, 2, or 3 shades like what we normally have a problem with using in the Black community. We always don't get to use our entire palette, as you can see. Even some of the ones I showed today. So this was one of the palettes that from shade 1 to shade 10 worked for people of color, and I think we couldn't get enough of it. It's just so beautiful. It has these beautiful jewel tones, astral tones over here. It has these mattes that are made for us and by us, and she really broke the mold in the Mothership collection when she created this. Like, this is my first one, and since then I've bought 7 more, so it's amazing. I'm going to swatch these shades, and I'm going to try and give you guys a mix of like satin, astros, and then we'll do this shade. I am using this baby a lot. Like, it looks like this little normal taupey gold, but it's just such a nice shade. See what I mean? And then the reflex on her shades are so next level. The packaging, the time and effort she puts into them when she's curating these are just something that a lot of people don't do. And I feel like the time is shown in the product and the way that it lasts. I've had that palette for 1.5 years now. It's not dried out. It's amazing. Even the packaging is next level. Like, look at this. Okay, it has fingerprints. Don't judge. It's gonna have those. I use it. For the packaging. Like, she really puts her all into it, and I think I appreciate it as being somebody that truly loves makeup, somebody that truly loves art, and also somebody that loves fashion, because she is a makeup artist in the fashion industry. She is world renowned. She's the mother of makeup. That's her title. So you have to give credit where credit is due, and credit is beyond due to somebody that has taken care of the community, is a part of the community. She is a woman of color. She's a Black woman, and she's creating palettes that works for us as well. So she's not being like, oh, because I feel like a lot of times, let's just be honest and talk about it, people of color that get very high positions forget that they are a person of color, and sometimes makes products that don't work on people of color. So for her to be a person of color, work in a industry that is predominantly Caucasian, and still make products that works for everybody, that is a round of applause. It's really beautiful, and I don't think that's done enough by us. Like, it's definitely something that I know one day I want to do, create products that works for us and actually works just for everybody, but never forget where you came from or who you are or the skin that you're in. And I think that's phenomenal, and she stays very in tune with her audience and what she brings to the table. So thank you, mother. So the final palette, of course, you guys know, it's still gonna be Pat McGrath. It was hard not to just do her whole collection. I did well. I'm proud of myself. It's only 2 out of the 10 I showed you guys today, but it's the newest palette. It came out last month, and I'm wearing it on my eyes, and it is called Divine Rose 2. So Divine Rose 1 was more of the cool tone sister to this one. This is like her warm party girl sister, and I think it is so melanin friendly. It has deep, rich tones. But let me not talk about it. Let me show you. I also have the rose pink one, so the packaging is a little dirty, has fingerprints on it, but the packaging that comes to it is glamorous. It's gorgeous. It's a mood. Like, it's a mood. And this is what I'm talking about, where she puts her work and effort into it. And then this is the palette. So even if you can tell, the reflection of this shade over here shows green, and it's because that is a triochrome, don't know, but that's what's on the center of my lid, and it reads so beautifully on the skin. It works for all different skin tones. You have this peach in here, and me, like you probably saw in some of the other palettes, I really love peaches, especially on my lid. And I can't always find a peach that works for me, because sometimes it can get ashy, powdery, and streaky. This peach does not skip on the eyelids. It's not patchy, and it looks great on my complexion and deeper complexions, and it's well curated. So this is the palette that is Black girl friendly. You can use some of these shades in here as blushes. You can use some of them as like highlights for your cheek. I have this one on as my highlighter today, and I use this as my blush. So and this can also be a blush for some people of color as well. So this palette is definitely curated for us, by us, and is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. That when you had that moment of silence for greatness. So it's great to see that in 2020, we're finally making those steps to really take care of our community and really show that Black people and other people of color spend money, and we're an investment as well. We're not your second option like some brands that have tried to release half a foundation range and then said to the community via IG, we will release the darker shades later. No, we are not an afterthought, create it all at the same time, or push production back. But let your brand speak for you. And those brands, I think that is very great that everybody's standing up and being like, hey, I'm not gonna shop for you guys anymore because you're not appreciating everybody as a culture. And these are some of the shades in that palette. I have that on my cheek, have that on my eye. Not wearing that on today, but will be soon. But it's just great to see that companies are stepping up high end and low end and really realizing that there are people of color who love this industry, who love makeup, who's going to spend that money for items that they care about. And it's great to see that we're not an afterthought after all. And I hope that these next couple of weeks, brands don't just put African American people up, male, female, other races of color up to get views or to not get canceled, #canceled, just because they don't want to lose profit. If you're going to put African American people on your page, put it on there because you actually care. If you're going to put people of color on your page, put it there because you actually care. If you're going to put the LGBT community on your page, put it there because you actually care. Don't put it there because you're scared of being canceled and because you're scared of losing profit. Like, make a change that counts and really have those discussions inside of your community. It's kind of like the Jackie Aina challenge when she's like, okay, you're putting up this post, you're blacking out your page, but how much of your company is actually Black? How much of your company is actually people of color? And a lot of brands didn't say anything, and it's because they're just trying to not lose profit. Like, let's focus on really making the changes and really growing as people overall, and really realizing like this person is just as important as this person, and it's not just going to go away. People are not just going to get over it, but I need to learn how to grow as an individual and take care of everyone. If you have a brand, you have the duty to serve everyone, every complexion, male or female. Do it, and you will really see an outcome and an outpour of love for just genuinely wanting to take care and serve everybody. And I truly and genuinely believe that what you put out, you get back. And these brands that I've showed today have done that. And even ColourPop, I think, was one of the brands that I showed today that did not really have a lot of people of color on their page initially. But when addressed about it, they spoke up for themselves, and they weren't defending their wrong, but they were saying that they were trying to do better. And we have to forgive those brands that actually tried to make that effort and tried to change too. We can't just black them out and say it's over, because we're asking them to grow. So when you're asking somebody to grow, you have to give them the opportunity to show that they have grown, right? So we have to thank brands like that. And that's why I even put them in the video today, because I feel like they're making that conscious effort. And as long as we're seeing people make that conscious effort, let's support it. And for the brands that don't, save your coins, sis. There's a lot of brands and a lot of companies that support you guys and love you guys for who you are and who you love and how you look, and give them your coins. Or even support some of the smaller brands that are just starting. But definitely know your worth, and don't let brands devalue it by saying, oh, it's okay, I know you didn't say anything. But no, not saying anything is a problem too. So I just want to thank you guys for my rant and for watching my video on the 10 palettes that work for us, people of color. I like to thank everybody that's been standing up. I like to thank the timelines that I've seen flooded with melanin over the last couple of weeks, and I pray that it's not a trend and that it continues to grow. I love you guys. I'll see you soon, and have a good week.